Try my best not to look like a fucking creeper in this one, but what can you do? You're at a fucking elementary school with kids. So, yeah. So, that guys, welcome everybody, I'm Zone, and today I'm going to be talking about an embarrassing moment that has to deal with feelings. Because this one's going to go up on Valentine's Day. For those that don't know, I fucking hate Valentine's Day. I mean, this story happened near Valentine's Day. I got cheated on Valentine's Day, left for on Valentine's Day, had a few breakups on near Valentine's Day. It's like, fuck Valentine's Day, man. Whatever. Either way. So yeah, basically what happened is that this takes place at my old elementary school, Grove Park Elementary, right? And back then, a lot of crazy shit happened, right? And so one day, right, I was like I just looked at this girl, Lexi, and I was like, wow, you're gorgeous. I would love to have you as my girlfriend, right? And so, I mean, what I decided to do was I decided to, try to ask her. However, back then, for some reason, I had balls to ask any other girl, but Lexi, I just didn't. So I was only telling my friends, hey, I like her, but if I find out that she likes me, then I'll ask her then. And they're like, okay, that's understandable. So I told a few of my friends. For some reason, those few friends decided to tell more of my friends. And eventually, it got around to this guy named Zachary, right? And so Zachary was one of those kids that never understood the concept of a secret or learning how to keep your mouth fucking shut. And so what ended up happening is that one day we were in gym, right? And gym is in this big ass field that's over here, right? So we have that over there, which is the kickball area. Don't know if you can see that all that well. Kickball, and then all of this grass patch is the fucking track, right? And so we were just chilling there, you know, and the whole grass patch or whatever. So the grass patch is pretty big, and that's what we consider like our track. And so we were walking the entire track or whatever, and I'm thinking, wow, I really want to talk to Lexi, right? And so I'm thinking, like, today's gonna be the day. Today's gonna be the day that I decide to ask her if she has any kinds of feelings for me, right? And I decide I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna have those balls, right? And so I decide to walk up on that field, right? Field being, you know, that fucking huge ass thing. And so I decide, okay, I'm gonna walk up to her. I'm getting really close to her, right? I ended up jogging a little bit to get closer to her, and she was talking to one of her friends. Keep in mind, at the time, we were pretty okay friends, right? We were pretty decent friends. At the time, anyways. And what ended up happening is that as I was really close to her, like maybe about 20 feet away, Zachary saw that I was close to her and decided, oh, I'm gonna beat him to it. And he decided to shout out super loud when there was about maybe 100 or so kids out there. He decided to shout out, hey, Lexi! And she looks at him and he's like, huh? And he's like, do you like Matt? And everyone knew who the fuck Matt was. And she's like, and he started laughing his ass off. Everyone saw where I was. Started pointing at me, laughing. She turned around, saw how close I was to her, and I just put my head down. I was so fucking embarrassed. And I fucking hated it. I fucking hated it. I hated him for it because it's none of his business to go out and shout that shit. And still to this day, I mean, I don't really, like, if he ever came up to me and he's like, hey, do you want to talk? I'd be like, okay, man, like, that, you know, no, I don't really want to talk to you. I don't care because I know that I can't trust you. Sure, you could say, oh, that's just when he's in 6th grade, but, like, that was, I mean, how would I be able to trust someone with something like that and then be like, oh, let me tell you something else and think that they wouldn't, you know, tell someone. And so what ended up happening is that I decided, okay, you know what, eventually I'm going to grow the balls and I'm going to ask her myself instead of having Zachary do it because maybe it'll be different if I ask her, right? And so I tell my friend Jaren, hey, I'm going to do it within, like, 3 weeks, right? Now, keep in mind, this story with the track thing happened, like, in January. 3 weeks later would be a little bit before Valentine's Day, right? And so I'm like, I might be getting the timeline a little mixed up, but I'm pretty sure this second part of the story happened in February, more than certain. And so I was like, I'm going to tell him, I'm going to go tell her myself that I like her, you know, I'm going to go up over there and tell her, right? And he's like, all right, we'll decide a day and we'll, you know, I'll go with you. And I'm like, all right, that seems cool. He's a really cool dude. And so I decide, oh, I'm going to go tell her before Valentine's Day. However, Zachary beat me to it yet again because he thought that if he went with Jaren, Jaren didn't know what he was going to do, but he thought that if he went with Jaren and asked her for me in a more sincere way, I guess, that I would forgive him and we'd be friends, right? So he goes up to Lexi and he starts saying like, "Oh, hey, I need to ask you something." And she's like, "Oh, what is it?" And he's like, "Oh, well, would you please date Matt? He's a very desperate person. He would do anything for you." And he starts talking like that, and Jaren starts getting mad, right? And keep in mind, they're like at the swing set. They're in like this like dirt patch swing set area, and she's just sitting there with her friends, and he's going on and on about how I'm so desperate, apparently, and how I would do anything for her, and that I would kill people for her, and that I'm just so lonely without her. So it's going off and off and off, just, making me sound like shit. And eventually, I'm just like, you know what? Jaren decides to say, "Hey, you need to shut the fuck up. That's my boy Matt. You leave him the fuck alone." He starts pulling him away, and he ends up pulling him away and says, "You need to go talk to Matt about this." And so when I hear that he said that, I got mad and I pushed him to the ground. And he hit the sand and he got mad and pushed me harder and I flipped into the sand. Right? And so we were about to fight because I got so mad. But we ended up getting separated by a few kids. And we were just like, fuck it. It's whatever. After that, Lexi didn't really want to talk to me anymore. She wasn't really my friend anymore. She just remained distant, right? And it kind of scared me to the idea of ever wanting to ask out a girl again, because that was the second time in a row that had happened to me. Before, I had like this girl named Nina, and when I asked her out, she turned me down, and then we didn't talk anymore, but we were really good friends. With Lexi, it was similar. We weren't as good friends as me and Nina, but we were still okay friends. And after that happened, she didn't want to talk to me anymore. Sure, yeah, maybe she started to think that Zachary was right, that I was so fucking desperate, because it happened twice within, like, the span of a month, but it's not the case. And it irritated me, and it kind of made me, what Zach did irritated me, and it embarrassed me for the rest of that fucking 6th grade year, because so much shit happened in that 6th grade year to fucking embarrass me. But, yeah, it embarrassed me, but it also turned me off to wanting to ask out any more girls for a while that I was actually serious about dating, because I felt uncomfortable about asking someone and then the idea that, we were such good friends and then they wouldn't want anything to do with me anymore, right? Now, of course, if they said, "Yeah, let's date," that'd be amazing, but the idea of someone turning me down and then being like, "I can't even talk to you anymore," was too scary for me to actually grow any balls to ask out someone that I genuinely liked, which made me not want to ask out anyone that I genuinely liked during 7th grade and 8th grade year, right? 7th grade, yeah, I did ask someone out, but I didn't care about them. That's a story that I actually should say. That's a very interesting story. But either way, so that guy's been this wonderful video to close. Don't forget to like this video if you did. Don't share this wonderful video with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe to Unlockable Stories for more vlog type shit like this. And yeah, so that guy's been this wonderful video to close. I'm Thisll, and I'm out for now. Peace.